In this video, I'm gonna be sewing a high contrast baby book. I am expecting a niece in late March, and so I wanted to make her something special that was handmade by me, and that's when I stumbled upon this baby book that I found on Pinterest. I'll be sure to link this post down below. It does a good job of laying out how to put this project together, and I don't think I would have thought of this idea had I not seen this post. So make sure to go give all the credit over here. Like I said, it'll be linked down below. Other than that, I think the next thing to do is jump to my fabric stash. I'm gonna, of course, need some black and white fabric, or at least something that's high contrast. I think I'm gonna try and stick with black and white, but I don't know exactly what I have in my stash. So we're gonna have to check there. And then other than black and white, I wanted to do some kind of pretty cover on this book. So I don't have anything specific in mind, but I just need to go look at what I have and then go from there. So let's jump over to my fabric stash. I did go ahead and go through my fabric stash, and this is what I ended up with. For sure, I know I'm going to be using this as fusible fleece to make the pages a little sturdier and thicker. This is the white I'm going to be using. But as far as black, this is all I could find. I do think I can use these strips for some of the blocks, but I don't think it's going to be enough for all of them. But we'll see. I'm kind of thinking what's going to happen now is I'm just going to use a mix of these purples and maybe this pink, because I think there's still enough of a high contrast from the white that the babies will be able to see it. And then it'll make it a little more fun. Even when the baby's a little older, it won't just be like black and white shapes. And then I did find this. If you go look at the blog post where this baby book pattern is, she makes one with all black and white pattern fabrics, so you don't actually do any piecing. You just use pre-printed black and white different fabrics to make the pages. And so I thought I could kind of incorporate this as another page, or maybe even use this as the cover. I don't really know yet. So I think the first thing I'm going to have to do is just see how much of each color I have and see what will work for each block. I'm going to start by cutting out some fusible fleece. There's the fusible fleece. Let's move on to the fabric. So once I got the fusible fleece cut out, I could no longer procrastinate making the decision on what colored fabric I was going to use. So ultimately, it turned out that the black strips of fabric I had were only going to be big enough for one of the quilt blocks. And I just decided that it would look too weird to only have one black one. So I ended up going with this dark purple and dark pink. This way, the pages can be alternating pink and purple, and it can look a little more cohesive than having a bunch of random colors. Once all the colored pieces of fabric were cut out, I moved on to cutting out the white sections. Scraps. I forgot I need to cut out the spine pieces. These black pieces happen to be the exact length I need, so I'm gonna just cut them out, plan on using them. If it looks weird, I'll figure that out later, but for now I'm gonna just plan on using black for the spine. And one last thing I almost forgot is the cover. So now's my chance to decide if I want to use this for the cover or if I want to use something a little more colorful. Let me go back and see if I have any more colorful pretty prints and just decide. All right, I'm really glad I went and looked through my stash, because not only did I find this a very pretty colorful fabric, it also has a little bit of black in it that it would match the binding. I also found this one that has pink and purple, which would exactly match. I mean, not exactly, but, and the stems are kind of black too. That one's just another blue one, which, and these are already pretty close to the size I would need. So now I just need to decide which one I like more. I kind of like the brighter one, especially because it's meant to be more contrasting and it matches the pink a little more. So I think I decided this is going to be the cover. There's our cover pieces. I am gonna get some of this extra fabric cleaned up, get my sewing machine ready to go, and then we'll start piecing these blocks together. Ugh, I think I need to get my iron out and I don't want to. I think I shall. I'm gonna do all the sewing I can before I have to do that though. I'm gonna iron all the seam allowance to the darker side. As you saw, I finally broke out the iron, so I was able to iron all the pieces I had sewn so far and then continue at the sewing machine finishing up the blocks. Okay, so some of these squares I'm supposed to trim to 6.5 inches square, but like this one is a little shorter this way, and I think it's just the way I sewed the seams were just probably a little more than 1/4 of an inch. I'm not gonna redo it right now. I think what I'm gonna do is just try to make it work, but obviously I'm not gonna be able to trim it because it's already smaller than what I was supposed to trim it to. These other two are pretty close, but they might be a hair smaller as well. So I'm just gonna leave them for now. When I start piecing everything together, if it's an issue, I'll deal with it then. After finishing all the pieced pages, I went ahead and combined them using the black strips of binding that I cut out earlier. Once I had the pages hooked in pairs of 2, they needed a good press. While I was here, I went ahead and ironed on the fusible fleece, and then from there, we're able to start assembling the book. So what I did was place 2 of these pieces right sides together, so around the outsides, leaving a little gap to turn right side out. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is trim the corners and turn these right side out. After everything was turned right side out, I gave it a good press and got ready to top stitch as well as close that little gap I left. How cute! Okay, now let's top stitch. Okay, so the top is looking pretty good. You're probably not gonna be able to see it, but inside my bobbin side, the stitching looks really bad. So I need to figure that out. I ended up seam ripping my top stitching several times before I was happy with it, and even then I wouldn't say I was 100% satisfied. I don't really know why it was doing this. It did get better. My only guess is that it probably needs a good service and oiling. It is a secondhand machine to me, and I've never had it serviced. So that's my best guess. I do plan on doing that here in the future, but for now, this will do. Let's go ahead and sew these down the middle. I wonder if I should use black for this. I think I will. Okay, let me go ahead and iron this and see if it'll sit more nicely. If not, I might add a couple more stitch lines, but let me iron it and see how it looks. All right, I'm gonna stop there tonight, and tomorrow I'll come back for the final reveal. All right, here is the finished product. Here is the cover and the back. I'm really happy with how this turned out. The first 2 pages, the middle pages, and then the back 2 pages. This was a really quick and simple project and a really fun gift. I'm excited to give this to my sister-in-law for her new baby girl that's coming in March. I could definitely see myself making more of these for gifts and for maybe my future kids. I just think it was a really fun and easy project for a baby. Some of the best things about this is it's fabric, so obviously babies can't rip it. And then the second thing is you can throw this thing in the wash if it gets dirty, as it inevitably is going to get with a baby. So yeah, I think overall this is a really cool book. I'll be sure to throw in some close-up photos of this book. But other than that, that's all for this video. I hope you guys liked it, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye guys.